welcome back to the new class this week. And this week we're going to proceed with our first lesson. As we mentioned last week, we might be taking quite some time because there's a lot of things to discuss today. And were it not, I'll make it easier for you. Should you have any question when it comes to the lesson itself, don't feel hesitate to ask the questions. Yeah. So let's start with today's lesson, which is going to be on the creating a winning resume. And today we are going to look at a few things. Specifically, we're going to cover these four topics. We're going to have an introduction to the resume itself. We're going to look at what are the content that you must have when writing a resume, what will be the format and layout that you can use to arrange the information that you have, and we're going to look at the final tips and tricks. And perhaps throughout the session today, we're going to myth busting certain myths when it comes to writing a resume. All right. Resume is a document that summarizes a person's work experience, education, skills, and achievement in order for you to apply for a job. However, when we talk about writing a resume, we cannot run away from um, facing these terminologies. We have resume, we have cover letter, we have portfolio, and we have curriculum vitae or CV. So first of all, when we talk about resume, as mentioned before, it is a summary of yourself. But remember this, we have this phrase here, in relation to the job applied. That means when we are talking about terminology, when we're talking about resume right now, we have to make sure that the information that you put there in the resume is only related to the job that you apply. What does it mean? Okay, but before that, hold that thought. We have to look at the second terminology, which is curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae, however, is a detailed record of one's background. That means you are not limited to the job that you're going to apply. You can put anything that you would like to highlight about yourself in curriculum vitae. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you have an experience of winning a competition and eating competition, for example. You are able to eat 20 sausages in 30 seconds, for example. Yeah, and this in the same situation, you are going to apply a job as a teacher, right? So where do you put that particular information that you can eat 20 sausages in 30 seconds? In curriculum vitae or in resume? Very good. You put it in CV. Okay. So from CV itself is compilation of all the things that you have done. You would like to pick a few information here and there in relation to the job that you're going to apply, and that will make you yourself a resume. Right. So got that now? Right. But sir, when we look at the job advertisement, we saw that a lot of people are requesting for CV. This is the common mistake that a lot of people do, ya. Dia sama macam nak cakap macam cakap semua ubat gigi adalah Colgate. Macam itulah dia punya situasi dia, okay? Alright. So you understand, ya? Resume is the short version of your curriculum vitae. Now, another question. What about cover letter? Ah, now cover letter on the other hand, as the name suggests, it is a letter that used as a cover for your resume. When you are submitting your resume later on to the company that you're going to work later on, yeah, that you are going to request for a job later on, apply for a job, you need to have a letter that tells them who you are, highlighting what position that you would like to apply, and also it will explain more on the specific skills or specific points about yourself that will make you the best candidate for them to choose. Okay, it's a written document submitted with a job application resume outlining the applicant's credentials and interests in the open position. Okay, what does it mean? It means that cover letter is the summary or the short version of your resume. Okay, now let's put it in the bigger picture. So you have the biggest document right now, which is called CV. Very good. You have one document that has everything about yourself. Now, specifically about yourself, which part of yourself would you like to highlight that in relation to the job you're going to apply? That's what we call as resume. All right, you have your own resume. From all the things that you know to do, you have your experience and whatnot. Just take something that related to the job you're going to apply. Okay, now you have this resume. From all of the skills that you have, from all of this experience or education background and whatnot, what are the things that you like to highlight the most when you are applying for a job? So when you have that, where do you put it? You put it under cover letter. Okay, you see the transition of information there from CV, the biggest one, resume, second one, and then the most important one will be the cover letter. You've heard about portfolio previously, right? Is there any difference from the folio that we did during our primary school? More or less the same thing, yeah? It is a collection of documents, drawings, or anything that represent a person's work. Let's say you have experience. You claim that you are good in graphic design because during your study time, you design a lot of banners, a lot of program book, a lot of a lot of slides and whatnot. Okay, a lot of marketing kit. Okay, so you can compile everything, put it in one place. It can be in hard copy as a folio, no problem, or it can be in digital where you create your own website. So, payah nak buat website? Tak. Nowadays it's really easy. You have your Google sites, you have your even Canva can create website right now. Okay, you don't need apa how do I say this? You don't need a corporate website. No need for that one. The simple one just would suffice. Okay. Let's say you have done video editing, for example. You have done a certain short film, or I believe if you take third language, there will be a task for you to where you have to do a sketch or something. Okay, so you can put that as an example that you have done certain work. It is not limited to creative works only. Yeah, let's say you have experience in managing events. For example, you are the project manager for a certain event, and you have pictures. You have what do you call that? You have received a certain acknowledgement from somebody, okay, in terms of certification or whatnot. You can compile it everything there. The function of portfolio is to show your future employer, say that you can do stuff. That's the function of you having a portfolio. Imagine, yeah, um you're going to apply a job as a marketing executive, for example, marketing executive. So rather than you tell people, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, you show people, I've done this, I've done that. How do you show them? By having your portfolio. Okay. Now that we have get the terminologies difference out of the way, let's look at next one, which is going to be on the flow of the resume itself. Now, there are two flows of resume. We have chronological order and we have functional order. What does it mean? Chronological order is where you highlight the things not by the importance of the content itself, but which one is the recent one to the oldest one. As simple as that. You highlight your work experience, which work that you work the latest, and then working your way until the oldest work that you have worked. Your education background, perhaps you're going to start with your degree and then your diploma, your STAM, your STP, and then your PT3 and whatnot. You will just follow up, writing them according to the time, chronologically arrange them according to time. So that's it. Okay, another way of writing a resume is where we use functional method, functional way, where we focuses on professional skill set as opposed to the work experience. There are people, for example, those who are in accountants, in accounting, for example, accountants, future accountants, they have a certain license. I believe they call ACCA something. Um, apa? Chartered accountant, something like that. I'm not really familiar with that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, yeah. So they can highlight that one first. Let's say you are under project management, okay. Then you have this um I don't remember. I can't remember exactly, but something like Sigma 6 black belt. Dia bukan taekwondo, dia under management punya problem management courses. Okay, so if you have that, that will stand you out much better compared to other candidates. You can highlight that first. Right. So when do you use functional? When you have something, when you have a specific professional skill sets that would benefit you, making you stands out compared to the others. And when do you use chronological order? When you have nothing, you just would like to um, put whatever you have, or perhaps not to say you have nothing, but you don't know which one to highlight. So you can follow the chronological order. Okay, nothing strong, yeah. Both is accepted, both can be used. Now, next one, this is the debate that we have a lot of multiple times previously. Between we have creative resume, we have professional resume. Now, my question: which one should you use, creative or professional resume? Okay, now creative resume or professional resume, both can be used, but it depends on the usage. It depends on where you're going to submit it. Okay, let's look at them one by one. Now, creative resume, you can use this type of resume when you know the numbers of applicant is going to be small. You're going to apply in this at the small company, perhaps Mama Sap Cawangan Tanjung Malim, for example, or perhaps apa nama tu? Kalau finance kat sini ada ke? Company finance kat sini? Accounting kat sini? A small firm, a small accounting firm, okay? For example, bukanlah sampai level apa nama? Goldman ke, bukan level-level yang tu investment banker tidaklah sampai level tu, for example. Then you know there won't be a lot of people applying for that particular job, then you can use creative resume. You know that in the end there will be human being who's going to look at your resume, not computerized, not systematically, sorry, not AI or anything. Then you can use creative resume. When are you going to use professional resume? When you know a lot of people are going to apply. You're going to apply at the big company. You know you have to, they will be using computerized application system, or they call it ATS, applicant tracking system. Paksa macam mana kita nak tahu dia orang buat macam mana? Siapa yang nak mengecek? Mengecek. Who's going to check your resume? Now, listen to this one, yeah. It depends on how do you submit your resume. If you were required to submit your resume via email, just they ask you just to email your resume. Most of the time, they won't be using computerized filtration. They're gonna have people who's looking at your resume. If that company requires you to submit your application in a specific website where you have to create accounts, you have to fill in your information and whatnot, and at the end it asks you to upload your resume, then for sure they're gonna use computerized system, they're gonna use ATS to look at your resume. That's how you differentiate. Ya ke saya sembang macam ni? Boleh percaya ke ni? Senang je. Korang try lah apply internship dekat Petronas. Buka website Petronas, dekat bahagian career, ada bahagian internship. Pergilah try. Iqbal, ATS stands for what, sir? Applicant Tracking System. Boleh Google benda ni. Applicant Tracking System. Now, the problem with ATS is that it cannot read anything else other than words. So if you use creative resume with the graphics and whatnot, they cannot identify what it is, hence making you being rejected from the resume file. Okay. So maknanya kita kena ada macam-macam jenis resume lah. Yes. Siapa cakap satu resume boleh hantar untuk semua orang? Tak boleh. Later on, we'll see what are the things that you must have in the resume itself to make sure that you do not send one resume to every company. Faham, eh? All right. Now, these are the things that you must have in your resume. I know when we learn about this, when we ask people about this, you're gonna get a lot of references. Some people might say, "Oh, no need for objective," or some people might say, "Oh, you have to put your achievement and whatnot." It doesn't matter. What I mentioned here will be the minimum, the things that you must have in your resume. Can you add more? Sure, no problem. You can add more. Can you add less than this? Please don't. These are the bare minimum of the things that you have to tell people about yourself to make yourself eligible for that particular job. All right, now let's look at the first one, personal details. What are you going to write in there? Only these things. Four things that you must have in your personal details: your full name according to your IC, your mailing address, email address, and functional phone number. Now let's discuss one thing. Full name straightforward from your IC. Tapi kalau nama saya pun IC dua keping, letak je, tak ada masalah kat situ. Now, mailing address. Okay, there will be situation where after you graduate, some of you will be moving somewhere. Meaning to say you're not going to stay at your hometown anymore. So perhaps in my case, for example, after I have graduated, I moved to KL to find a gig job. I mean, l- trying to find a job there while um, renting somewhere. Okay. So when you're renting somewhere, this is the question that I would like to ask you. What address should you put in your personal detail for your resume? The address that you are renting at the moment or the address of your hometown? All right. Now, in order for you to choose which address should you put in the cover on the resume itself, you need to ask yourself one thing. First, are you going to be at the same address at the same renting house for the next 3 months? Will you still be there? If you're not sure, or if you're not sure that you're not going to be there, then put your hometown address. If no, you sure you're still going to be there, perhaps you are renting with your friends and you have made the pact that one of them have got a job already. So whatever happens, we're going to stay here. Okay, go ahead, put at the mailing, for the renting address. So why 3 months? Because usually after 3 months that you have applied for the job, if you do not receive anything, any information about the job itself, you can consider yourself not being chosen. There are companies that goes up until 6 months, but dia cakap je 6 bulan. Kalau kata nak dapat dah 3 bulan tu. Okay. Soonest that I got an offer for a job, I go for the interview in the morning. By evening, before 5 o'clock, I got the job offer already. Kalau dia betul-betul nak, kejap je. Kalau dia dari lama sangat tu, gitulah cerita dia. Sangat bagus. Alright, now we are done with the personal details. Let's discuss certain things that a lot of people are doing. What about IC number? Can you put it in your resume? Very good. You don't put your IC number in your resume. Why? This is pertaining privacy issues. You know what? Just to share with you, I have multiple of my friends who suddenly got an Astro account. Dia tak apply untuk Astro pun, tiba-tiba dia ada Astro account. Why? They are from Terengganu. What we call it? The statement, the Astro statement stated that the address in Johor. When we think about it, yes, they have submitted a resume. Uh, in the career fair back in Johor. And when they look at the resume that they send, yes, they have this. They have IC number, they have full name, email address, functional phone number, everything. So please make sure you don't put your IC number in your resume, or else you're gonna be scammed out. Alright? So where do you put your IC number? Later on, when you're going to apply for a job, they will require you to put in your information in the specific form. Then you can put it there. Okay. As well, same goes to your date of birth. Right, date of birth, no need to put it there. Nobody gonna give you present yet. Nah, dah masuk wajar nanti barulah dia orang bagi hadiah jadi. Janganlah berharap sangat. Okay. Last one will be the hobby one. Do not put it there. But let's say lah, your hobby. Let's say your hobby is flying drones, for example, or perhaps playing football. There are certain companies, you have to do a background check of the company first, yeah. There are certain companies that would like to have their employees having these skills, flying drone skill, playing football skill, for example, TM or Proton, for example. They have their own soccer teams or football teams, yeah. So by having that, that will makes you much better compared to other candidates. But you don't put it under hobby. You can put it under achievements if you have any achievement on that, or you can put it under skills. Don't label it as hobby. Apa? Saya tak boleh hobi. Sama je lah. Benda sama juga. Okay. When you put it in hobby, it sounded that you do not take it seriously. Just to fill your free time. But when you put it under skill, they know that you are really into this stuff. That's the main difference. Even though it is the same thing, just the difference of the place that you put the information will make a difference. Okay. All right. So that will be the personal details. Now have a look at this. This will be the simplest way for you to write your details in your resume. Just put out your name, your address, your phone number, as well as your email. As simple as that. Okay. Now, next. This is where each resume should be different from one another. Each resume should have different objectives depending on the job that you're going to apply, depending to the company you're going to apply. All right. Now, if you look at here, when we talk about writing an objective, there are two ways. Yeah. One, you can use the purpose way. Another one that you can use is the summary way. All in all, for the purpose way, there are three things that you need. First one, that will be the highlighting what you want to do, and then highlighting what you can do. Lastly, highlighting what you can bring to the company. Hang nak buat apa hang boleh buat, apa hang akan bagi ataupun bawa kepada company. Tu pakat kedah aku jadi orang ni. Okay, now let's look at how to write them. Have a look at this. Enthusiastic teaching graduate with proven lesson planning, organizational and classroom management skills, seeking a teaching post at the region secondary school to apply student-centered approach in supporting the school students. Okay, can somebody tell me where is the phrase that shows that you can do things? Where is the phrase to show that what you want to do and where it shows that you can bring something to the company? Now let's have a look. Integrated teaching graduate with proven lesson planning, organizational and classroom management skill. This is what you can do. So what you want to do? You want to be a teacher at the region secondary school. What can you bring to the school? You will bring student-centered approach in supporting school students. Okay, very good. Now, this is the purpose way. Let's look at the summary way. Summary way, more or less, is like just like purpose, but you put it in the past form because you're going to highlight what you did. You're going to highlight what you did. You're going to highlight what you want, what experience do you have, and what you can bring to the company. Okay, we only change do to did, and we add a little bit of experience. Now have a look at this. Okay, again, from the sentence here, try to see which one is the want statement, which one is the did statement, which one is the experience statement, and which one is the bring statement. Try. Very good. You got it correct. You got the idea, right? So those are the things that you're going to do. Yeah, you're going to highlight what is your experience, what you have you done, what you want to do, and what you can bring to the company. Now, the bring sentence here will hook your future employer to see that, kalau aku ambil dia ni, dia boleh bantu aku di aspek ni. Walaupun dia tak masuk kerja lagi, dia dah nampak dah apa dia kena buat. During my experience when we going through the interview, one questions that I see a lot of hiring managers would like to ask: where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Kau jangan pergi jawab pasal 5 tahun lagi saya nak beli kereta baru, lepas tu nak kahwin, nak ada anak 15 orang. Janganlah macam tu. You have to think from the company's perspective, what you can bring to the company, what you want to do in specifically for your career. Right? So you can give them a hint of that in the objective when you write the what you can bring sentence. All right? Very good. Now, let's look at the next part. The next thing you're going to write will be the education part. As simple as this, there are only 4 things that you're going to have. First one, you need to have a course program of all the study is stated in your scroll, name of the institution, the highlight of your study, and your graduating month or year. Now, the course or the program of your study, I believe you have what? ISM, ISMP, right? ISM, ISMP. Tu je lah kan? Okay. With honors. Jangan lupa yang belakang tu. Now, name of institution, should you put Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris or Sultan Idris Education University? Right. My answer, both is acceptable, depends on the language of the whole resume itself. Kalau kau buat resume dalam bahasa Melayu, pakailah Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris. If the whole thing in English, then you use SI apa? Sultan Idris Education University. But for the resume purposes, for this particular class, everything need to be in English. Okay. Now, study highlight. Why do you have to highlight your study? Okay. Let me give you the example, yeah. In UPSI, we have one program, we call it as Ijazah Sarjana Muda Komunikasi Sosial. Komunikasi Sosial. More or less, UITM has the same course called Ijazah Sarjana Muda Komunikasi Massal. Okay. Another university, UNIZA for example, it has something that called Ijazah Sarjana Muda Bahasa Inggeris dengan Komunikasi. But when they look at the transcript, the subjects that they learn more or less the same, almost similar. Not entirely similar, but almost similar. Okay. So because of that, you want to highlight what is the best about you, what is the best subjects, for example, that you have learned previously during your study that is relatable to the job that you're going to apply. For example, okay, let's go back to your program. We have accounting, we have Malay and whatnot over here, right? Okay, since you are from UPSI, education, for example, yeah, Malay, for example, you are going to highlight your linguistic knowledge, for example, and you're going to apply a job as a teacher, as a and at the private school as a teacher. You're going to highlight your Malay literature subjects. Do you think other candidates who has the same degree with you would highlight the same thing? Saya tolong jawab. Memang iyalah kan. Dah dia pun bahasa Melayu, dia kan highlight bahasa Melayu lah. So, as an UPSI graduate, apa yang membezakan korang? What differentiate you from the rest of the universities? LM, boleh? Extra language, boleh? Teaching experience. KPD, jangan lupa KPD. Pedagogi segala bagai tu. Ah, that's how you stands out from the rest of the candidates. Others might say that they have knowledge in the language, but since you're applying a job as a teacher, you have knowledge in teaching and language. That's how you differentiate yourself from the others. Where you put it in the highlights. So, yang pendidikan boleh lah. Yang tu, yang kita orang yang bukan pendidikan macam mana? Okay. Ambil FTV lah senang. FTV ada masuk, ada masuk apa nama ni? Ada masuk kebun. Okay. So, you're going to apply a job at Mardi as an FTV student. Okay. So, what do you highlight? You can highlight that you have hands-on experience in doing agricultural stuff. Or perhaps your final year project is about the usage of apa biocompose as a replacement for manure, menggunakan biocompose untuk menghentikan baja. So that was your final year project research on that. And like that you have studied about this stuff, that will make you stands out compared to the rest. Oh, dia ni ada pernah buat kajian pasal menggunakan baja alternatif. Kita pun memang tengah duk buat research pasal ini. Baik ambil kawan ni. That's how you highlight your education in relevance to the job that you're going to apply later on. Okay. Now, graduating month or year, you can take two things. Yeah, either you take your convocation date, which for you, I guess that will be what, November or October 2027, perhaps, or perhaps you can just put the date that appears in your surat tamat pengajian, something like that. You can choose either. Okay. All right. Now, my question: can you put your CGPA in your resume? What I'm going to share with you can be a little bit disappointing or a little bit sad, but this is the reality out there. Now, listen carefully. This is not applicable to all companies, but a lot of them are doing this. If you get a GPA, first class GPA, for example, 3.75 and above, my suggestions, do not put it in the resume unless you are required to do so. Why? Okay. Dengar dulu. Most of the company have this stigma. The stigma is, if let's say you are the one who get good scores, three first class for example, the stigma is a lot of people from this particular group cannot do work, they only know theory. While we know actually that is not the entire story. Okay, by having that, somehow it becomes a bias, and your resume will be filtered out, not given a proper or fair chance to be selected. Okay, nampak macam sedih kan, but that's the reality. However, if you apply a job at a specific company that which requires you to have this theoretical framework, theoretical understanding and whatnot, for example, you're going to apply a job as a teacher, as a lecturer or something, or perhaps a researcher, tadi yang nak masuk Mardi jadi tu kan. Yes, go ahead, put it there because they want someone who know a lot of things, who are best in their study to be part of them. Okay? So, kalau yang tinggi tak apalah, yang rendah serendah-rendahnya boleh letak berapa? Rasa-rasa kalau dah pointer bawah daripada 3, bawah pada 2.9, nak letak ke? So my suggestion, try 3 and above or 3.2 and above up until 3.6, something like that. Yes, you can put it there. This is not what we call that? I'm not saying that you cannot put it there, yeah. You can put it there, but you have to be aware of the risk that going to face later on. Right? Okay. Now have a look at this one. Example. This guy in 2028 graduated from University Malaysia Pahang with Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering with Automotive Engineering. Okay. So what did he learn? He graduated with honors in Bachelor yada yada, specializing in automotive engineering, demonstrating a strong foundation in engineering principles and automotive system. Wah, dengar macam powernya. Sebenarnya yang dia nak cakap kata, masa aku study dulu, aku ada ambil subjek automotive engineering, aku ada ambil subjek engineering principle, subjek automotive systems, itu je pun. Tapi sir, kenapa nak kena bekerja subjek ni? Orang tak tahu hang belajar apa. When people know what you learn, they can relate it to the job that they are looking for candidate to fill in. Then that will make you the most suitable candidate for that particular job. Okay. Right. Now, work experience. Work experience, more or less what you have experienced previously. You have your position, you have the department of the company as stated from the offer letter itself. Let's say you have experience, yeah. Duration, how long have you worked there, and the job description, which we're going to discuss later on while following the STAR method. Now, location. Location is optional. Highlight if relevant, meaning to say, let's say you work in the HQ of a particular company compared to someone who work at the branch. So you can highlight that you work at the HQ. Okay, that will gives you much leverage when it comes to the resume selection. Now, job description. How do you describe the job that you have done? Okay, follow the star method, where the S is where you create a situation or you highlight a specific situation. In that situation, what task that you have to do, that you are supposed to do, what task that you are supposed to do, and then what action that you have taken, and don't forget about the result due to the action. For example, yeah, have a look at this. This guy worked as a head of new business. Tengok ni, worked as a head of new business. So what did he do? What is the situation here? He cultivated and secure new business partnership. Ini yang jadi, ini yang dia kena buat, ini yang dia dah buat. Apa yang dia buat? Secure new business partnership. So what is the result there? Leading to a 40% growth in the company's client base and a significant expansion in market reach. Sebenarnya nak cakap apa? Dia ni ketua jabatan business, new business. Apa yang dia buat? Dia dapat customer, dia dapat klien. Klien tu menyumbang kepada 40% perkembangan syarikat. Itu je pun sebenarnya nak cakap. But look at the way this person structured the sentence, the words that they use, cultivated. Bukanlah kata get customer, taklah, cultivated and secured. Ah, and to help you with that, you can have a look at this. This is what we call as Harvard action verbs, verbs for resume. It highlights a certain word that you can use to highlight specific skill. For example, let's say you like to say that you do a lot of communication in your work. Rather than you say communicate, you can say furnished, you can say influenced, you can say what else? Collaborated. For example, katakanlah, let's say you work as a cashier at Speedmart during your mid-sem break or your sem break, for example, yeah. So one of the job is that you have to communicate with the vendor to know, to make sure that if let's say the stock in your store is depleted or you don't have any more stock, you are ordering stuff from them. So what do? Collaborated, streamline supply chain, collaborated streamlined supply chain system with vendor to ensure stock availability, hence resulting to 100% customer satisfaction. Wah, bukan main pusing. Nak cakap apa? Sentiasa communicate dengan abang hantar roti supaya sentiasa hantar roti dan roti sentiasa ada. Bila roti sentiasa ada, pelanggan pun suka. Tu je pun nak cakap. Okay, so you can use these words. I will share this slide with you later on. You can use this word to help you find out the HR way, the PR way of writing out your own job description. Okay, right. Now let's move on to the next one, skills. Bear in mind there are two types of skill. One we have hard skills, another one we have soft skill. Hard skill, in short, is that the skills that can be measured. Soft skill, on the other hand, relies more on your interpersonal skill. It relies more on your characteristic. Now have a look at this. For example, like this, yeah, your language skill that falls under hard skill because you can have a specific certification to show that you are fluent in that particular language. Your video editing skill, you have certain certification and whatnot. Okay, what are the things that you can do that what we call as hard skill. Soft skill, however, in terms of something that is not be measured, something that can be measured. How can you measure optimism? You cannot write, but you can say that you are the one who optimism. You can always see opportunities here and there. Okay, so which one is more important? Hard skill. Hard skill, Hard skill, hard skill. Okay, now these are the three skills that you must have. Okay, kalau tak tahu sangat nak tulis apa, minimum you need to have this. First, technical skill. Specific software that you can use. Specific system that you know how to use. UBS, QuickBooks, Okay, so you can highlight these stuff that you know how to use them. Those engineering students, they have to say that they know AutoCAD, they know SolidWorks and whatnot, right? For the 3D modeling and whatnot. For those who are from ID, they need to know SketchUp and whatnot. Okay, so highlight those things. Now, functional skills, where this is when it comes to the theories. This is usually those who are under anthropology study. For example, education, yeah. So you need to know what is pedagogy, heterogogy, andragogy, cybergogy. Segala gogi-gogi lah, tepung gogi pun masuk sekali lah semua dalam tu. Alright, so those are the functional skills, the theories that you have to know. Highlight that you are familiar with those things. And then, of course, nowadays you cannot run away from having language skills. Now, language skills wise, it is not necessary for you to say that you can only highlight language skill if you have intermediate or proficient. No, even if you have basic language skill, you still can put it in your resume. Why? Okay, let me share with you. Yeah, in Pro2, there are two teams. One team is what we call as Pro Malaysia, Pro2 Malaysia. Another one is Pro2 Japan. Pro2 Malaysia is the one who've been doing the innovation and whatnot in manufacturing cars. Pro2 Japan, Pro2 Japan is the one that have been sent to Japan to learn from Toyota, to learn to gather information on how to create cars and whatnot with the new technologies and whatnot. So most of the time these companies they have a specific trainings where if they know that you have the basics in the in specific language, in this case Japanese lah, yeah, If they have the basic on this specific language, they will send you for language training and then they send you to Japan. Ah, so as long as you have basic in the certain language, put it there. Do not be shy for to put it there. Okay, right. Now, next one, this will be the last one. Reference minimum. You need to have two reference. You need to put their full name, position, the company, and the contact info. Make sure something that they can be contacted. Now, who you can choose to be your reference? Your former employer can, your mentor, your supervisor, as well as your colleague. Yes, you heard me right. Your colleague also can be your reference. What does it mean? When it comes to colleague, it means that somebody that is really into that particular field that you want to apply, or perhaps someone which is a higher level from you. For example, I have one of my friend applying a job as a editor in a nation's newspaper company. I cannot tell which one, but you can guess, yeah. So he put me as one of the references. So I got a call from this particular company asking me about him, specifically because they saw my title as a language instructor. They asked me in terms of his language performance. Okay. Even though we are not in this technically we are not in the same field. We mean he's in editor, he's in journalism, but I mean education. I can act as a reference to talk about him in terms of a specific terms. In this case, will be in terms of language. Yes, you can use your own colleague as well. Okay, ni ramai-ramai kat sini dalam grup ni ada macam-macam, ada bahasa Melayu lah, ada ni apa semua lah. Bolehlah jadikan kawan-kawan nanti. Right? Okay, now part 3 before the end, we're going to talk about the layout. So there's no specific format for you to write a resume, but what we can agree on that if you follow these 10 tips, you can have a good looking resume. All right, I'm not going to dwell too much on this. You can see by your own later on. But what I would like to highlight here is point number 10. Do not use photos. Why? Have you heard of the expression berperwatakan menarik? Tak dengar kan? Rasa-rasa apa maksud berperwatakan menarik tu? Itulah kan presentable, attractive, formal, nampak sopan santun cantik lah kan? Okay. That is what it's supposed to mean. However, when it comes to perbuatan menarik, senang cakap sedap mata mandang. Tu je. Cantik ke, handsome ke, apa ke, itulah yang dipilih. Why I say do not use photos, there are several reasons. First one, you'll be biased in terms of preferences. Cantik ke tidak ke, but cantik ni subjective. But when it comes to a certain job, there are people who say, tak nak lah ni. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is racial issue. Okay. Uh, di Malaysia agak sedikit kurang benda ni terjadi. Walaupun ada tapi kurang terjadi. But if you go to apply in the MNC company, multinational company, company besar-besar, you might see this a little bit staggered compared to our own company in Malaysia. The risk is there. This is just to tell you that the risk is there, but I'm not saying that you cannot put it there. Alright. If you want to put your picture in your resume, please make sure a proper one. Can you put picture like this? Okay. So I believe you know what will be the presentable or professional photos for you to put in that in resume. Please follow that. Yeah. Now, most of the time when we receive resumes, people do not follow the specific color palette. Background hitam, tulisan merah. Background merah, tulisan hitam. Background kuning, tulisan orange. Allah Akbar. So I took the liberty, you can scan the QR code here. This will lead you to a specific website called Color Palette. This will help you in choosing which color schemes that you can use in order to have your resume looks more professional. Jangan bantai je semua color, okay? Now, font wise, as mentioned before, we do not have specific font for you to use. Ini bukan buat assignment. There's no specific font that you can use to write a resume, but I would suggest that between sans serif and serif, please choose a serif font. Apa benda pula sans serif ni? Serif tu ekor. Ni lah. Okay, the one that we stroke at the end of the letter itself, that's what we call a serif. the one without the stroke, we call it as sans serif. So sans serif is more for serious or formal tone. Sans serif is formal tone. Serif is for more towards informal tone. All right. So you can choose your own font itself. You can scan here. This link, this website will help you find out your own favorite font. For me myself, my go-to font will be Century Gothic. I really like that particular font. You can use your own, no problem. Okay, right. Now, arrangement. How do you arrange the information? According to Gutenberg, the one who invented the printing press, the printer actually, what we can say that people read from right to left. I mean, for Roman lah, for Arabic from left. Okay, this will be the reading gravity, the way people read from left to right, and people will involuntarily will end it towards the bottom right. So if you put anything on the bottom left, most of the time people won't be seeing it too much. That's why when you see format from Canva, for example, a lot of things when you put it over here are the things that is not necessarily important. Only if they want to find it, they put it there. Usually they put references over here. So the famous Z pattern or Z pattern, where you start from left to right and then down and right. This is the common way for you to write your resume or write anything in that terms. Another one is zigzag pattern, basically just a compressed Z patterns, golden triangle, Z in the form of a shape. And can you see this? This is the common structure of writing a resume in a Canva or any what do you call that? Any creative resume that will arrange something like this. So number 9, the last point that you would like to highlight will be on the bottom left, right? So this is the way that you should do. You don't put number 1, you put name here, and then number 2 down here you put your education, and then suddenly you jump here your work experience, and then suddenly over here at number 7 you put your skills and whatnot. There must be an arrangement, there must be a flow. We mentioned previously, right? We have functional flow and chronological flow. You need to have that in your resume. Okay, last one, final tips. Please, when you're writing your resume, please remember Doraemon. Kenapa Doraemon? Cuba tengok Doraemon ni. Badan dia pendek dan juga padat. Poket dia banyak isi. So your resume should be like this. It should be pendek, padat dan berisi. Please keep it short and simple. You do not want to overclutter your resume with a lot of things. So, saya ada banyak benda nak share ni. Jangan share semua. So, where can I share everything? Masuk interview nanti, masa tu kau goreng. Masa tu share lah macam-macam benda nak share. Remember, the purpose of us having a resume is just to get us to the interview session. Right. So as I mentioned in a lot of other classes previously, I said that resume, when you're writing resume, this is the only place that you can riak dan takabur, hopefully tanpa berdosa. Why? You have to highlight yourself. You have to promote yourself. In order for you to do that, you cannot be shy. You have to show everything. Every single side of you should be shown in your own resume. Of course, you need to think professionally. To think professionally means that you have to think from the point of view as a hiring manager. Will you choose this particular resume if you received it? Nanti dah buat resume tu, letak kejap, tengok balik from the perspective of a hiring manager. If this is resume that you receive for the particular job, will you accept it? If no, why? Where is the weakness? Okay, that's how you do think professionally. Information wise, please just cap it to the previous 5 years. Let's say you're going to apply a job within next year. Your PT3 result, no need to put it there as your education background. It is obsolete already. 5 years already. No need to put it there. All right. If you have a relevant certification or licenses, please put it there. We have a CCA just now. Tadi ada bersama the SKBMW. Okay, just put it there. Put it in the resume itself. Now, there are people who would like to share a lot of things in the social media, but please make sure that your social media is clean from any controversial or sensitive issues. Yeah, nowadays it has been a standard where the company will do a background check about yourself, something that triggers them, something that is what we call that, contradicting with their beliefs will make you not eligible to be chosen. So please be careful with that. And proofread, do not make mistake when sending resume. I have received resumes previously where the candidates even misspell their own name. Okay, it's a shame for you to do that. And lastly, when it comes to the job itself, let me ask you a question: which format of document should you submit, documents or PDF? PDF, very good. Yeah, don't ever send a document file. Anyone can change it. There might be people inside of the company who would like to have you, but the others who like to have their own people. They can edit your resume and submit something that is not really you. That's one thing. Second thing is when it comes to naming your file, I receive a lot of candidates when they are submitting their own resume, they put something like this. Why? They are repeating editing it. They are repeating editing the resume and then they forgot to rename. So how do you rename your resume? Just put your full name at the resume itself. As simple as that. Okay? All right. I guess that marks the end of the session. Scan the QR code there for your slides lah. So your homework for this week, your homework for this week is really simple. I just want you to do a simple draft, a sketch or anything, doesn't matter. I just want you to know, have an idea. If let's say you're going to create a resume later on, what are the things that you're going to put it there? All right. So just for the sake of the class itself, there's no need for you to be rigid with your own experience. Let's say if you are going to create the best resume, what are the things that a candidate must have? Boleh je lah goreng-goreng sikit. Oh, saya dah ada ACCA, saya dah ada uh, sijil macam-macam. Letak je kat situ. Just to show that, oh, this is the sample of a good resume, what a good resume would look like. Okay? Right. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you so much for today. I'll hope to see you again later next week. That's all. Thank you. Bye bye.